Are the Olympic Games ready for ground and pound? Hendricks versus Lawler. Take the smart money or the heart money? And fighters are getting punched in the head a whole lot. Maybe doctors should look into that? All that and more. This is MMA on Draft. Welcome to MMA on Draft on First Run TV. We're here at Beer and Wings Sports Grill in Winnetka, California. I'm Rich Slaton, joined as always by Joe Cervelin, Dawna Gonzales, and Gary T. And our special guest, fight sociologist and author of 25 Perfect Days, Mark Tullius. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
We have a lot of greats to talk about. Let's get right into it. First and foremost, should mixed martial arts be an Olympic sport? Are they ready for the blood and the elbows and the kicks? What do you guys think? Gary, should the Olympics be taking in mixed martial arts?
Yes and no. I mean, there's taekwondo, there's boxing, there's judo. This parts of it is already there, but MMA not yet. And the reason what I think that is because what will they do with it when it comes to the judging? Is it going to be the exact same rules from the UFC brought to the Olympics, or will the Olympic Committee look at it and say, you know, we like the UFC, it can sell, but we're going to tweak the rules a little bit?
It'll be judged as horribly as the UFC officials.
Only French and Russian judges for mixed martial arts in the
my worry is that the Olympics may water down
the rules,
the UFC because
yeah.
boxing's in there, but boxing big gloves. And we got the headgear, taekwondo's got the full gear.
Right.
If you had a choice, my thing when I was thinking about this topic is that if you had a choice between having UFC in the Olympics, yes or no, or having it watered down, what would you guys decide? If they said, yeah, we'll allow it, but we're going to water it down, where it's a certain amount of rounds, time limit change, bigger gloves, maybe helmet, just stuff like that. What do you guys?
Well, that's what amateur mixed martial arts is.
That's what I was going to say. It's just like watching amateur MMA, and I would love to see it at the Olympics.
As an amateur, not as a UFC type style, just
Well,
as
the
an amateur.
Olympics are amateurs.
They're supposed to be.
by nature. So
Right.
yes, I would love to see amateur mixed martial arts in the Olympics.
Right.
Just when somebody wins a gold medal, I don't see them
Right.
as amateurs for some reason. To me, they are professionals.
But amateur boxing, it's a sort of a different sport than regular boxing. There's sort of different techniques, you know, it's scored differently and different strategies work. So it might be a different version of MMA, but it's not necessarily watered down. It's just the Olympic amateur version of it.
So here's a big question about fighting in the Olympics. It would have to be some sort of tournament format. Does mixed martial arts over the 2-week span of the Olympics work as a tournament format?
That was my question. I don't think it can, or it would have to be incredibly watered down for it to work, because you take top level fighters and they cannot have 3, 4, or 5 fights in a 2-week period. I mean, unless there's, you know,
That's true.
a lot of protection.
If there's any cuts, you're out. If there's any bad injuries, you're out. So,
Alternates in the gold medal match? Get out of here.
okay, so then do we want to see all the components of MMA in the Olympics? Do we want to see Muay Thai? Do we want to see
Yes.
Jiu-Jitsu,
Yes.
wrestling, judo,
Yes.
everything?
Yes.
I think that would, I would love to see it, especially jiu-jitsu. But yeah, again, you know, how many fights can these fighters have, whether it's Muay Thai or whatever?
That's a good question.
That would probably be the biggest obstacle.
But remember that UFC, that's how it started out.
Yeah.
It started out and it worked from the beginning part. It was exciting. And maybe it was a freak show. I get it. It was a
Slightly
freak show.
different.
But it was an exciting freak show to watch. When it comes to tournament format, I like tournament format.
Here's my other argument why I don't think it should be there. The Olympics are for fringe sports. Ultimate Frisbee should be in the Olympics. But mixed martial arts, we can see that on a day-to-day basis. You know what I can't see every day? Curling.
All right,
and I'm addicted to that every day.
I got one. Okay, mixed martial arts, but you're in an air blower, so you're all floating. It's simulating.
No, I like
Oh,
it.
like a city
skydiving.
walk.
And then
Yeah.
it's like and the big gloves. So
MMA.
like it's just the big gloves. So
Right.
Yeah. No.
Like
okay,
12-ounce gloves,
if
yeah.
we can't have MMA, can we at least
That's
have
French.
jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu
No
should
jiu-jitsu
definitely.
specific.
Yeah.
No, the he's
Jiu-jitsu,
fine.
but
But-
skydive jiu-jitsu with the air blower, so you're.
Okay.
Basically, you
Yeah.
want
That'd be awesome.
Ender's Game, but for
Yes.
the Olympics.
Yes.
Battle school.
That'd be fringe.
But then every other sport, every other fighting style will Kung Fu.
Air blow 'em all.
Kung Fu Olympics, Krav Maga Olympics.
Air ball.
I'm
air
not
blow 'em
hearing
all.
anything that's bad. We are all martial arts nerds, so yes.
Okay. Next topic. Next topic.
Perfect. So, one problem we mentioned with Olympic sport being too many fights too quickly, which brings up a very important point, the trauma you suffer, in particular, the head trauma. Taking that much damage over a 2-week span, especially concussion issues, that's an issue. And you've been traveling around the country, going to martial arts gyms, and you told me that you've stopped striking.
Yeah, it was an incredibly hard thing to do. I was going to all these gyms, trying to jump into sparring with these guys that just beat the hell out of me, because I'm 41 years old, kind of out of shape, but I'm stupid enough as a former fighter to jump back in there. And like Fabricio Verdum and Babalu and guys like that almost knocking me out. And I realized, I was like, I need to keep my brain. I want to fight till the day I die. But I love getting in there and sparring, and it was a really hard decision to stop. And if I hadn't gone with the jits and started training that, I don't know if I would have been able to let it go. And in fact, even though I said I completely stopped, I'm going up to Alpha Male next month and the Diaz brothers, and so who knows what's going to happen. But that's how it is with fighters. It's so hard to give it up. Even though I have nothing to gain by going in there, I still want to keep doing it. And these fighters, it's their livelihood. This is what they do. They make money. This is who they are. And
what if that causes problems? What if that head trauma leads to problems, like with Lehman? With Thiago Silva, I understand what you're saying. Fighters just can't say no. But what if these guys are, spending UFC money on crack, or spending?
Whatever you're saying, keep saying that.
Well, no, we're talking about head trauma. What are these problems?
Head trauma always leads to crack.
Well, you're gonna
or doing whatever.
Chris Lieben was crazy way before he got a billion punches in the head.
I'm just making a small point here. What if head trauma leads to a guy running around with a gun and be acting crazy? That's stuff.
What if Subway cans from the $5 footlong leads to someone running around with a gun?
Okay, but here's the thing. We've talked about this on other shows. Do fighters need a union? And it's a resounding yes. If we want to continue to watch these fighters and enjoy them putting their bodies on health on the line, then we need to provide all the services that take care of that.
Absolutely.
We can't continue to ask them to do that
health support,
without it.
addiction support, all that stuff.
Of course they
You can't just run them through the ringer and and just toss them out.
What if they don't want it though? What if this
But they don't want what?
If they don't want the support, if they don't want the mental, because a lot of times stuff is personal.
But
maybe
there
a
might
guy
be someone that can
who's
reach
doing
out to
drugs
them.
doesn't want people telling him, what, guy, stop it. Maybe a guy who's good.
It's not just
drugs
drugs.
His life. Maybe stay out of my business. I understand you got to protect the fighters.
That's
how much control should the
in the
UFC
world,
or the union have control over fighters? I know they want to help them out.
Guys like
this is a job. We've talked about this before. This is a job. If you want to continue to work for my corporation, which is a job, even though it's a physical job, here are the things that need to happen. You need to be healthy, and that includes being mentally healthy, and then here are all the resources in order for that to happen. It's pretty cut and dry in my head.
They should be able to do spreadsheets too, because it is a corporation. All fighters should know how to do spreadsheets.
Excel is very important. I think the biggest question here
any fighters who don't know how to do it.
What happens if a fighter gets punched in the head too much and then gets all the nuclear weapons?
Right.
I mean,
that could be a problem.
I think that's where Gary was going with this.
It's very dangerous.
You guys are making fun here, but I'm being serious.
So, the thing that scares me is, besides that, I talk with so many of these guys, and I try to pay attention when I'm talking with them. It's been hundreds of guys, and especially guys that have fought for a long time. I'm not detecting them being slow. I'm having intelligent conversations with these guys. They seem to be all there. I've asked that question to a lot of them, like, okay, when are you going to stop fighting? Are you monitoring? Do you have someone that can watch after you that can kind of tell when you're having these problems? Because when I was boxing, I was slurring my speech. I was mixing up my words, and it really bothered me. And so that was one reason why I kind of stopped. But I think these fighters, what's going to happen 10 years down the road?
That's the thing.
Like we don't know that. So
that's the thing. We don't know.
What's happening with the NFL now? I mean, this is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
These are not just. They're not actors. This is not a movie that we're watching. These are real people, and if we want to continue to watch this sport and have it grow, we got to take care of them.
But what's the solution? Can the commissions make a rule if you get knocked out 3 times, you're now banned from competition? How do you actually fix the issue?
Well, we're talking there's a couple different balls in the air at once. I think one, they need health care, so regardless of when and where the trauma is detected, even if it's 10 years down the road, or like with football players, if they have major back problems 10, 20 years down the road and they don't have money anymore,
So
they
do
should
we need
still
a
be,
league
you know,
like there
take
is the
care of, I
NFL?
think.
I mean, should there be an international MMA league that regulates stuff like this? That the fighters have to go in, just like you have to get a license to fight. You have to go in and get your license, get your blood checked, get your head checked. Maybe that all needs to happen. I don't know how that works, but somebody needs to regulate it, right?
Watches to see how crazy
the
it
are. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the head damage and head trauma, new news coming out this week that there may have been some headache issues with GSP after his last fight and the last couple of months, and that may have contributed to him stepping away for a year or so. Words from Freddie Roach.
Right.
With that in mind, does that change your opinion at all about the way that Dana White reacted to GSP's stepping away from the organization, or do you still have the same feelings? First of all, I think most of us were on GSP's side as much as we could be.
Right.
But does it make it worse? Does it make it different?
I think, Dana, he's a businessman, he's a salesman, but I think he's pretty damn honest. I think he says it like it is, even if he looks like a jerk. I think he's very blue collar and just speaks his mind. So I don't think he was throwing GSP under the bus or anything. I think he was just kind of pissed how GSP put out the information and was sort of wishy-washy. Because that press conference after the Hendricks GSP fight, Dana was pissed and he was like sloppy during the conference, and he apologized for it later because it was just, he said he had would have no problem with GSP retiring, but it was that wishy-washy statement out of nowhere, and then I guess behind the scenes he was going back and forth on it. I don't think it's a married to the mob thing. I don't think he's like, we own you for life. I think it was just GSP wasn't being, he wasn't tightening up about how he was expressing it.
GSP still has a concrete idea of what he wants to do, and who knows what that all entails. It could be headaches and some physical stuff. It could be mental stuff, and it could be a combination of all of those things. And he's still trying to decide what he wants to do. So he could have, in the press conference, he did say something about headaches. He could have said something to Dana behind closed doors, and all of those things could still apply, and he might still be trying to figure it out. I mean, I know we all expect GSP to be Superman, but maybe he's not, and maybe he still hasn't figured out what's going on with him, and so it's, I don't know.
GSP put 10 years into the company. Yes, Dana made him very rich, but I think that Dana should respect GSP a little bit more. I think Dana, if for some reason took this personally, he just took it personally, like GSP just quitting the way he did, and it's weird. I think it hurt Dana to the point where he just started saying all that stuff.
Right.
With Hendricks, it's weird when you look at the UFC website, pound for pound, GSP's not on the list, but Anderson Silva is. You know what I'm saying? So
GSP's retired for now, but Anderson's not. Maybe that's why.
That is an important.
I don't think Dana's just gonna you're no longer pound for pound.
It almost feels like it's like, part of it. I'm banish you. You know what I'm saying? Until I take you back.
You are banished.
GSP may have
something concrete from him.
GSP might have nuclear weapons though, so there's more going. There might be more going on.
I know. I guess it's a business. I know, and Dana lost his biggest draw, but I personally didn't like the way Dana handled the GSP thing.
Dana lost his draw, but Dana wanted Chuck Liddell to retire, and that was a big draw. So I really think Dana, I really believe in him.
Chuck's draw had dropped a fair bit by the time that happened.
Yeah.
He wasn't selling the same.
But think about, on a side note, Juliana Pena, she just got injured. Dana's insisting that she was assaulted at her gym, even though the gym said that's not the case. That is not good for his business. It's publicity, but she was a big draw as an up-and-coming female fighter. Right. So I think he says what he feels, whether it's good for business or not.
Let's ask you a question. Let's say they were trying to make
back to GSP.
Let's say they were trying to make the GSP Silva fight. GSP goes to Dana White. I'm getting headaches. Is Dana White, what would you say? Dude, just go one more fight, man. What would you say? Or like, dude, you can step away.
Kind of depends on what the cause of those headaches. Have you been to the doctor? Let's figure out what those headaches are.
If I can't sleep, I'm losing memory.
Dana doesn't want anyone to fight that doesn't want to fight.
I agree with
Dana used to be a fighter. He said he wanted to be a pro boxer more than anybody, but he realized one day he might just be one of those guys at the gym who never quite made it, and then it wasn't worth it to him.
But he's also
he knows from experience that he didn't want to be a guy who didn't make it.
He's also a promoter, which he became very successful at. So creating one of the biggest fights in history.
Fighter who became a promoter.
So he knows it from the inside.
But remember GSP and Silva, man, it would have been a very, very good fight.
No, it wouldn't. It would have.
Silva would have
killed him, just like
box office.
Just like GSP killed.
You don't think that it would have broken pay-per-view records as a promoter? You don't think you see money?
Hey, BJ Penn #1. BJ busted George up.
Okay, but do you think that the UFC is going to have trouble getting people to watch some of the fights that are coming up. I don't think GSP was their only draw. So
for a super fight, I mean, you had Jones and somebody else, but when it comes to it was Jones or Silva or GSP and Silva.
Aldo and Pettis. That's
well before that. I mean before that, but now that was the fights before he lost to Weidman. You know what I'm saying? Because it was one fight away. The super fight was one fight away from matching them up.
So GSP makes his comeback in a year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Immediate
probably.
Title shot, or is there someone else you think should be in his?
No, he vacated the title.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I say no.
So who do you think he gets? Does he get? Is he in a number one contender fight in his first fight back?
Yeah, I'd say number one contender, but definitely not the title.
So he has to fight whoever's number one at that time, and then they.
I mean, if the last fight was more dominant, maybe, but
right.
The way it went down with Hendricks, I'm not sure.
Speaking of making comebacks, Anderson the Spider Silva itching to get back into the cage, which of course I'm super excited about.
He's walking right now.
He's walking around.
Down the
He's on his feet. He's taking care of stuff. So first of all, do you think there's going to be an issue with any sort of physical or mental obstacles on the way back into the cage?
I don't. I think that Silva is Silva, and I don't think anybody has ever disagreed that he's amazing. So him walking back into the cage, I can't imagine anybody being surprised by that.
Well, there is some disagreement because on my notes there's a big "was he overrated" on here. So someone might have disagreed with his amazingness.
Advocate.
Wasn't you?
I think it's easy in retrospect to break down any fighter after you see the keys that unlock them. It's easy to like look back at earlier fights and be like, oh, so and so could have just done that. They could have done this, and then the things that they kind of pioneered for the sport get taken for granted. For example, that front kick. He didn't invent that front kick, but once he did that, Machida
did.
Yeah, Machida retired Randy Couture with that same kick, and then everybody started doing spin kicks after that. And I think that all came from, you could probably chart it back to what Anderson did to Vitor.
We're seeing that front kick. We've been seeing that front kick in amateur fights. We had a kid, Hugo Aranda, this last weekend in House of Champions. Little 18-year-old 125er throwing front kicks.
But it's so easy to forget that, what he's done. It's so easy to, and look back at his earlier fights.
That Ralph Macchio.
True.
Ralph
Macchio,
Karate Kid. Anderson needs to get on his knees and thank Ralph Macchio for teaching that. Look.
How do you know he hasn't watched The Karate Kid 100 times in Brazil?
So what about coming back from the leg? I mean, are there concerns about the ability of that leg to take damage? I mean, does it heal at the same strength at 38 as it would at 24?
Maybe not. I'm not worried about him at all physically. I think like he's got the mental strength. I mean, he'll recover. He'll do whatever he has to do to get back in there. But mentally, not only just the leg and checking kicks and everything else, but coming off of those losses, he just lost.
Two losses,
what is that?
What is that?
Weird losses. Two of the weirdest losses.
How many times have we seen Anderson Silva
overcome adversity?
Right.
Once.
Liar. What do you mean once?
What once are you talking about?
Chael number one.
Dan Henderson had him mounted in the first round.
Twice.
And he was losing the Weidman fight. There's a good chance.
How many times have we seen Diego Sanchez overcome adversity? You know what I mean?
Does he win when he does that?
Sometimes.
I think you can say a lot of things about Anderson Silva. I think that you can say you don't like how he presented himself in the ring a couple times. I think you can say maybe he got a little lazy or maybe he, acted a little bit too cocky. I don't think you can say that he's never lived up to his hype.
Two more Silva questions. Number one, when Silva comes back, red corner or blue corner? Does Silva always get to be in the red corner, or will he be a blue corner fighter when he makes his return?
Oh.
You mean a challenger?
Did I just stump all of you? It's not that hard.
I don't know.
Does it depend on who he fights when he comes back?
Are we talking about a challenger and champion?
Well, not even challenger champion. He might not get a title shot. He's not getting his title shot when he
depends
comes
on
back.
the ranking, I guess, right?
Oh,
The person's outranking.
If he's
Was that awful of a question?
Silva,
I guess, is he going to walk out first or not?
Yeah.
I don't think Silva can win two more fights, warm-up fights, before fighting for another championship. I really don't think.
You don't think he can win the two fights? Or you don't think he has that left in him?
I don't think he'll win 3 fights in a row.
Really?
I really
The guy with the longest unprecedented winning streak in the UFC.
At 38, when he comes back at 39 with a busted leg, he's Anderson Silva. I got it, but he's gonna be 39 years old, a busted leg, two losses in a row to a younger guy. guys. The next two challengers to be
Number
fighting.
guy.
What? One guy. Okay,
One fella.
And the confidence of the people. I mean, these other guys that are going to go against him now, like, well, he can be beaten.
Yeah.
He's not this guy that hasn't been beaten
His
before.
myth has been taken down.
I think that does.
So
a lot.
he's not going to win 3 fights in a row to get the belt back.
So who's your pick for Anderson's first fight back?
Leona Machado? Why not?
There's no way.
There's no way he's fighting Machida. So let's put that.
Why not?
He said, "I will never fight Lyoto."
Because they share bunk beds. What are you talking
Maybe
about?
Dana's gonna make.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Well,
Okay,
Machida
so he-
dropped on weight already.
He says, "Let's dream for Machida." Donna, who do you think's? And who's your pick for Anderson's first fight back?
Robbie Lawler.
A real fight.
Oh, just
a real
crossover,
fight.
do it at 170. All right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Did I?
Or Robbie could go
I
up.
was thinking GSP.
We're
I'm
talking
so
about
sorry.
real challenger.
At 185, I don't know. Maybe they'll give him.
Does he get the loser of the title fight?
I honestly I can't figure out who
Him
they put in
versus
front of him.
Cormier
I
would
don't
be
know.
interesting at catchweight, or if he went up
Do you
top.
think
Cormier
Cormier
can
against
come
Cormier
down
would be
to 185?
fascinating?
Or he like
Again,
someone can go
Cormier
up
looked like
205.
fight at
He's on that
205.
big time.
Mark, who's your
I think
pick?
that's where he should be. I've said that a million times.
Yeah. I remember.
No, I don't know who I'd like to see.
Never.
What do you guys think about Michael Bisping as his first
That
fight
would
back?
be interesting.
I think
That would
Bisping
be
would
a
get
good-
knocked out.
Here's the story, because now for his first fight back, you have a guy who Anderson should beat
Yes.
and who will strike with him. There's not going to be a ground game against Michael
Bisping's
Bisping.
recovering too from his eye.
And
from his
number
eye
two,
injury.
Yeah.
for Bisping, if Bisping is the one who beats Silva on his fight back, it's a good fight for both of those guys.
Yeah.
How about this?
I-
GSP
No.
and Silva. Why not?
They just show up at his house and kick down the door.
Why not?
Cameras.
Why
I
not?
don't see that fight. I don't see it. I don't care. I don't
Front lawn
You
in
have 3
Montreal.
minutes to put your socks on and whatever. Stretch.
Dana's outside. of the
Yeah,
camera.
yeah.
So who knows if we force a champion, ex-champion fight. But what we do have is a big-time championship matchup coming up soon for the vacant welterweight title. Johnny Hendricks versus my
this is the fight.
ruthless Robbie Lawler. Oh, I guess you guys can figure out who I'm picking for this one. I said like we're dating or something. So, Hendricks Lawler, are we going with the smart choice or the heart choice?
Well, we're not. Is anybody disagreeing that somebody's getting knocked out?
Yeah, someone's going down.
First round.
Someone's going.
First round. I mean, McDonald should have won the Lawler fight if he didn't sleepwalk to the first round.
Yeah, I thought
He should have.
Yeah.
Hendricks
Well, he was
is gonna
hunting
He's
him.
better on the ground. He's better up against the cage.
I was
He's got
shocked
heavier-
that Lawler won that.
His hands are heavier, man. I mean, Lawler likes to brawl and give him punches
Yeah.
chance, but Hendricks should knock him out in the first round.
I think
first round.
Yeah, Hendricks has it unless Robbie can do what Rick Story did to him. Rick Story's the only guy who's dominated Hendricks. He just Sherman tanked him, got him against the cage, beat up his body. But that was before.
Lawler
that was
wasn't a
before.
fighter. Lawler
Yeah, he
wasn't.
You
doesn't
guys
fight
are
like
not
that.
giving anything to Lawler's hands, man. That dude's
I get,
got...
he's got concrete in his hands.
He's
He's
got
got
size.
in his hands, but yeah.
He's like swinging kettlebells every time he throws.
Yeah, no, anything could happen. I'm hoping Lawler takes it.
Really?
The possibility is definitely there. You can never count him out, and since he's been with ATT, and this last year's been awesome. So he's got it. He's got the desire too, because he's been there, and then he's been out. So now, he wants it.
I think that I normally would go with Lawler. I usually pick him for the win. However, I think Hendricks is chomping at the bit. He
Yeah.
is so
Yeah.
pissed off from
And
that
he's
GSP
confident.
fight.
Yeah.
He is gonna come in that cage and just be like, I don't see him losing. I don't see him giving up the fight under any. I think Lawler might have to kill him.
Hendricks did like
Not
a
impossible,
1980s
absolutely not.
RoboCop villain laugh when he was fighting GS. I remember he came out one of the rounds. He was like,
Yeah,
He's
I
so
think
confident
that
right now.
he's just
Yeah.
roar. But you better watch out for that.
So does Hendricks try to avoid the hands of Robbie Lawler
Yes.
and win the belt?
That might be part of his
down?
strategy. Don't
get hit by Robbie Lawler.
No, let's not.
Does Hendricks have a chin? Has his chin been tested? Rick Story beat the hell out of his body. I don't remember if he hit him in the head a lot. But does Hendricks have a chin?
Let's also
Let's not find out. Go for the takedown.
Lawler's defensive wrestling has been improving. Rory McDonald wasn't putting him on his back. So does Hendricks keep the fight where he wants it? And it's Hendricks' two hands versus, it's Lawler's two hands versus Hendricks' one hand.
I think they're gonna swing for the fences.
I mean,
They're gonna-
Hendricks.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
I think Hendricks will control him. Look what with him and Condit. Condit's are good with control and.
This won't be a technical fight. I mean, he's gonna be just throwing Hail Mary.
I think Hendricks is going to make it technical brawling, kind of like Melendez against Sanchez.
Very distinctive possibility.
Golf club, Joe.
But then, how great would it be just to hear and your new UFC welterweight champion, Ruthie Lawler.
That's her private nickname.
She's really great at 170.
And then Nick Diesel will say, "What the heck, man?"
So here's the great part: Robbie Lawler wins the welterweight championship.
Diaz knocked him out
Nick
before.
Diaz comes out of retirement for welterweight to redo that
I can
fight.
beat that guy. He's gone. I can beat that guy.
Oh yeah, right. That's the fight everybody wants, I think.
Yes.
Really, I just want Nick Diaz back in the UFC.
come back.
For the love of God, all Diaz.
We need a bad guy.
You guys, Nick and Nate, have children, please, because this can't end with you guys. Stockton needs somebody.
Should one of them mate with
Rich is laughing a lot today, man.
Juliana Pena?
He's really
a naked, the fighter spawn of Pena and Diaz.
Oh, that'd be an awesome fight, baby.
That might be the ultimate fight baby right there.
Distinctive possibility. I think yeah, Diaz, Pena would be great.
Super Hispanic, baby.
Yeah, top flight. Stockton, I can't say the rest of it. All right.
We'll leave it out.
No, we won't, because I didn't say it. This has been MMA on Draft from Beer and Wings Sports Grill in Winnetka, California. I'm Rich Slaton,
Joe Cervelin.
Gary Teperman.
Dawna Gonzales.
joined by fight sociologist and author of 25 Perfect Days, Mark Tullius. Mark, where can we get that book?
On Amazon and marktullius.com.
Wonderful. This is MMA on Draft for First Run TV. See you next time.